Hello and welcome to my channel Vegangelical. Please take a moment to like, share, subscribe and comment on any or all of my posts, and also take a look at the links in my bio and in the description, and I look forward to hearing from you. So today I'm going to talk about humane slaughter again, this time part 5, humans. So previously I've talked about cows, sheep, chickens and pigs. I thought I'd have a little bit of a delve into the effect of slaughter on humans and whether or not it can be perceived as humane in that respect. So it's going to be broken down into a few areas, so that might give me scope for some future discussions. So what do I mean when I talk about humans in terms of humane slaughter? So I worked as a slaughterman in a couple of slaughterhouses, and I'm still living with the trauma. So quite aside from what happens to the animals, which will always be my focus, it's important that people understand that you are traumatizing the people who work in this industry by creating a demand for this industry. So I still suffer from lucid dreams and struggling to sleep at night. Last night, for example, I couldn't sleep at all due to the constant sound of pigs screaming in my ears whenever I closed my eyes. So that can only really be put down to the experiences I had when working in a slaughterhouse, some of which you can hear more about if you look at my video on humane slaughter pigs. So how else does it affect humans, and when we're deciding whether or not exposing them to this industry is humane or not? So it makes violence normative. So it's very common for slaughterhouse workers, people in animal agriculture, to display violent behaviour. Anyone who's done a save vigil will know exactly what I mean. The number of farmers who get incredibly angry and lash out or try and run their vehicles at them shows the level of violence that they think is acceptable. So when I was going out, for example, after a shift, I'd be heading out into town in my hometown, and it became quite common for me to get involved in altercations. If someone had just looked at me the wrong way, I might go over and headbutt them or punch them, and quite easily be drawn into fights. So there's that aspect of violence that normal people don't find that acceptable, but it seems to be much more prevalent in those involved with animal agriculture and slaughterhouses. This can express itself in many ways. So you get a high proportion of slaughterhouse workers are responsible for domestic violence and abuse of their partner, family members, and even children. So that's a horrific side effect of obviously when people are handling vulnerable animals that they think are in need of controlling, and they are able to exert their power over them to get their own way and get them to do what they need to do in order to kill them. It's no great step or surprise that we learn the amount of people in these industries who are involved in harming other vulnerable people, whether that be children, partners, or just general members of the public who you may take a dislike to. So there's that. So there's also a link between child abuse and these industries for exactly the same reasons that I've just outlined. There are other aspects that it affects the lives of those who work in these industries. So when people work in slaughterhouses, it's quite often to quite often found that these people will self-harm or attempt suicide, and sometimes successfully. I know of a number of people who've done those things, and sadly one or two of them successfully taken their own lives. And I've been witness to one of those, and it's not something that you want to witness. And there are other ways these workers will harm themselves. They'll make poor life choices, and that might involve the misuse of alcohol and drugs, or it might be self-sabotaging relationships. So having difficulties forming or maintaining relationships is very common, and certainly my experience. And I think there's probably enough there to form the basis of a number of chats I could have, and I can talk to other people who have been involved in this industry and have been specifically affected by any of those things I've mentioned above, and that might be interesting for you to hear. So I'll probably have a chat with some of my contacts from those industries and see if they'd be willing to do some interviews with me, so that I could get them in front of the camera and get them to explain how they've been affected by working in the same industries that I did. So I hope you find that helpful, informative, and not too traumatic to have to think about those issues. But when we talk about humane slaughter, it is an oxymoron. There's no such thing as humane slaughter. Not only have I never seen an animal killed humanely out of all the many thousands of animals I've seen killed, but I have my own personal experience and my experience of those I worked with is that it's also not humane to put people in a job that creates these outcomes for them. So yeah, please, as I said at the start, like, share, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I can delve into some of these issues in future episodes.